Welcome to BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher along with BNEWS producer Sydney Bowles, BNEWS reporters Tad Stefanak, Robert Paris, and Chris Flaherty, Juliana McGrain with sports, Peter Brown with the weather, and Gretchen Carey with the community calendar. Thank you for joining us. The final town meeting of 2024 is coming up on September 23, and the Select Board this week weighed in on some high-profile warrant articles. The board voted unanimously in support of a new electronic sign for the town common and is asking voters whether to change the town clerk role from elected to appointed in a ballot measure. They also tackled the new Fox Hill Elementary School, which is projected to cost about $100 million. Thanks to state support and efficiency grants, Burlington's portion will be about $64 million. By far, Burlington's largest capital project to date. Burlington Ways and Means Committee plans to ask voters for a debt exclusion to finance the project in April's local election. That would put the cost of the bond, debt, and interest outside of the regular tax rate. The Select Board voted 4-1 in favor of spending about $64 million on the new building. Select Board member Sarah Cawley supported the project. Here she is.
It's our job as a body to sort of weigh the beneficiaries who benefits from this and who takes the burden of the higher taxes. I think a lot of people would argue this is only one elementary school. However, investing in our schools benefits the whole town. Better schools attract families and businesses, boosts our economy. It can foster a sense of community and pride and just a better overall quality of life. So the school needs to be replaced. The financial impact is going to be there no matter what or when it happens, and the more we wait, the financial impact is going to be going up and up and up. So we've already invested $1.5 million in the design phase of this. We have $30 million in the wings from the state. I would hate to see any more money or time wasted with our Fox Hill kids and teachers in a subpar building. So despite all of my reservations and hesitations, I would be in support of I would be in support of this project.
Select Board member Mike Espeo was the sole vote against the proposal.
I'm in favor of a new Fox Hill. I'm in favor of what the building committee has done, even though it was a little bit tough process, tough road to get there. I love keeping the four-school model, but I'm not in favor of the plan that Ways and Means has come forward with on this. Put these two projects through now, and we're going to come before the town in April and ask them to vote to raise their taxes on two projects that are already underway. It's not going to pass. Nobody's going to understand it, and no one's going to advocate for it. And if that passes, I'll eat my hat. And that's where I have to speak up here, and that's what my whole problem with the whole process has been. It's not the school, it's not what school we chose, but it's, as a member of the Select Board, we have a fiduciary responsibility to the town, and I do not think that the plan that Ways and Means has come forward with is the most responsible plan, and that is my only opposition.
Town meeting has the final say on the project. School Superintendent Eric Conti has said the new Fox Hill is a need, not a want. And if town meeting votes no, he'll come back in January with the same request, but with no state support, meaning the same building would cost the town $30 million more. It's hard to imagine if $64 million doesn't pass, that $94 million would pass. Select Board this week also approved a new art project for Burlington, a mobile micro gallery housed in a trailer. It's a project of the Economic Development Office and local artist Catherine Lecomte-Leche, who says the project is personal.
I grew up in a lower class family, so I wasn't able to access museums or galleries because of the entrance fees. And I've had this idea for a long time about how to remove these institutional barriers and make art accessible for everyone.
The trailer will feature rotating exhibits from local artists and will be available at town events and at some special art pop-ups. The Burlington Police Department is well on its way to designing a new state-of-the-art facility on the site of the current building, which means they'll have to relocate for about 2 years during construction. Now they've finalized a plan to relocate to the Vinebrook Water Treatment Facility, which has been in the process of being decommissioned for some time. They'll also use some trailers on the Vinebrook grounds. There was about $2 million set aside for relocation expenses in the $46 million building budget, but this plan is expected to cost significantly less. The department should be fully transitioned to Vinebrook by July. A review of literacy curriculum at Burlington Public Schools found, and I quote, an urgent need to align the curriculum across grade levels. According to contractor Gail Levette, a disjointed English language arts curriculum was showing up in MCAS data, where only about 57% of third graders were hitting proficiency standards.
Finally, alignment came up, and it's woven through all of the findings. It was after we need a core elementary curriculum program and middle school curricular program, it just kept saying alignment, alignment, alignment. We need to be aligned. So the pressure points for that were really between the elementary school and the middle school, right in that 6th grade transition year. And then again, at the high school, I heard it about 9th grade. There was an alignment between 8th and 9th grade. And when I'm talking about alignment, I'm talking about alignment in all of the areas that are listed there, alignment of data practices, alignment of curriculum, so that the teachers knew what the kids were learning in the year before, alignment for the rigor of the instructional program, all of those areas. So this was a pretty urgent need and a pretty significant need that came up.
Levette recommended the district adopt a single core curriculum and that the district hire a literacy coordinator and a reading specialist to help meet needs. The data is in from the first school year with Whitson's Culinary Group, a food service provider now providing breakfast and lunch service in Burlington schools. According to BPS business manager Nicole Kosha, the contractor met all of the obligations in its contract, including a guaranteed $215,000 surplus at the end of the year. That's after years of Burlington ending the year in the red when it offered an in-house food program. But some school committee members still had concerns. Megan Nuychek worried spending money on a third-party provider meant there was less money to pay cafeteria workers a living wage. And committee chair Christine Monaco said she'd been hearing from families about poor menu options at some schools. Here she is.
The menus do not even come close to what we originally had for demonstrations from Whitson. And maybe that's because our staff couldn't manage it all, and so they modified the menus. But I don't think we're getting the benefit that we thought we were getting from this program. And I also think that probably Dr. Conti and Nicole and Bobby find it a whole lot simpler to have a food service company do this. And maybe that's a good enough reason so that we don't bog down our administrators with worrying about the food service. But from a practical perspective, I do think the right food service director with this amount of money could probably do a good job and have us end up with more money than we're ending up with Whitson.
Public health officials in Massachusetts are sounding the alarm about Eastern equine encephalitis, or EEE, a rare but serious virus that spreads through the bite of a mosquito. The virus is rare, but it can be fatal. In the most recent outbreak of EEE in Mass, back in 2019 and 2020, there were 17 reported cases and 7 deaths. This year, 4 cases have been reported in Massachusetts and no fatalities. According to the Burlington Board of Health and the Massachusetts Department of Public Health, there have been no cases reported in Burlington, and our risk level is remote, but it's still wise to take precautions. Common sense measures include using a DEET-based insect repellent, avoiding outdoor activities during dawn and dusk, and wearing long sleeves, long pants, and socks when outdoors. It's been a big couple of days for major institutions opening their doors in Burlington. The Broad Institute, a collaboration between Harvard and MIT, has cut the ribbon on a new lab and office space on Blue Sky Drive. BNEWS reporter Sydney Bowles has more.
The 145,000 square foot campus for the Broad Institute on Blue Sky Drive will bring 230 new employees to town and will house lab, research and development, and office space for the genomics research nonprofit. At At a well-attended ribbon cutting on September 10th, members of the Burlington, Broad Institute, and state government communities gathered to celebrate the opening.
Researchers at the Broad are exploring how genetics, environment, exposures, and infections impact our health. And other researchers at the Broad are developing novel therapeutics to treat those diseases. Our team's work, the work of the team who will be predominantly moving to this building, is to generate the data that powers this engine of discovery.
As a town, we have put in the work to create an environment where businesses like Broad can truly thrive. We've invested in the infrastructure, resources, and support that make this growth possible, and we are excited to see this partnership flourish.
As we just heard from Paul Sagarino, the town administrator, the town collaborated with the developers working so hard to get this important business into Burlington. This entire area has really become the epicenter of life sciences, and it's a place where lives are being saved, are going to be saved every day through the research that goes on here.
The pace of science is changing faster than ever. And the stakes are high. We're living in really crazy, complicated times. This is not the time for us to hang out. We want to make sure we lead for future generations by continuing the innovation, continuing the research, continuing the invention, curing more disease, helping more people live their best lives.
I want you to know, as we stand here today, Massachusetts, we're #1 in education, we're #1 in innovation, we're the #1 place ranked to raise a family, the #1 place to have a baby. We have more people in our state than any other state in the country covered when it comes to access to health care. We protect reproductive freedom. We believe in libraries because we're home to the first in the country, as well as the first school and public park. We've got so much going for us. You know where we're #1 as well? Curing diseases and saving lives. Nobody else in the entire world does it like Massachusetts, and we do it because of people like you.
This is a real big deal. I mean, we're proud of all the businesses that come to Burlington, but there are some of those, like the Broad Institute, that really are leaders, not only in their field, but in the world. And this is going to bring a lot of attention to Burlington, but it's also going to bring other businesses looking to follow in the footsteps of the Broad.
We wish the Broad Institute well on its endeavors in Burlington. For BNEWS Weekly, I'm Sydney Bowles.
Not to be outdone, the UMass Chan Medical School also cut the ribbon recently on a regional medical campus right here in Burlington. Tad Stefanak has this report.
The town of Burlington and Leahy Hospital and Medical Center have reached an impressive milestone, opening a regional campus of the UMass Chan Medical School based out of Worcester. Opening ceremonies included speakers from the medical community, state officials, and the president of Leahy Hospital and Medical Center.
We are very grateful to be uplifted by this class, by this work, because it's really going to be our sustainable future that we see and we want to invest in.
Following the ceremony, a reception was held, where the guest of honor was the inaugural cohort of 32 first-year medical students.
I believe the program has a lot of good benefits. Here at Leahy, the BILH system has a great leadership program, a great leadership team. And so by learning from them, students have the opportunity to also make great big impacts as leaders and physicians in the healthcare system.
We, as a class, are all very like-minded in our mission to make a change in the healthcare system. I know that we're excited about team-based care and we're excited about values-based leadership, and I know that those are things that can provide an intersect between leadership and medicine together.
So I've been looking forward to learning about leadership, learning about myself first and foremost in order to be a strong leader. I've been interested in hearing from strong leaders in the medical field already, and I look forward to using the skills that they teach me in the future in whichever specialty I decide to go in.
Town officials talked about the importance of having a medical campus in town.
I think there was some amazing speakers today, and they talked a lot about the future and advancement of healthcare, and they talked a lot about collaboration, and I think that's really part of our core values in Burlington is collaborating with our healthcare facility and our residents in the community as a whole.
I want to thank the students for trusting in us and truly allowing us to take them forward on their learning journey.
From the regional campus of UMass Chan Medical School at Leahy Hospital and Medical Center, I'm BNews reporter Tad Stefanak.
Flip Circus has been in Burlington lately with a fun-filled show for all ages. Chris Flaherty takes us there.
The circus has come to town. Flip Circus, a touring acrobatic spectacle for all ages, has arrived in Burlington, setting up the big top at Burlington Mall.
Flip Circus was from the imagination of the Vasquez brothers, who have been in the circus industry for over 50 years, and they created Flip for something magical, something of a different experience. They wanted to bring back the traditional circus that you see on movies and bring it to real life by bringing it on a small tent, but a very big place. You're going to see a lot of artists from different parts of the world, a lot of performers like trapeze, jugglers, clowns, acrobatics, and they're all just right here to entertain you.
Flip Circus is performing in Burlington now through September 17th.
We're really happy. The audience have been reacting very nicely to the show. It's such a family show that everybody comes in and enjoys it. And when we say family, a lot of people think it's only for the kids. It's not. It's for the whole family. It's for the adults, for everybody. We hope that people go home with amazing memories that they can create with Flip. It's something that's such a out of the ordinary for us to go and see a show that's such magical experiences, and you're so close to the action that you feel like a part of the performance, as well as a live orchestra, and just an amazing time that you're going to have.
Until next time, this is Chris Flaherty for BNEWS Weekly.
The Council on Aging held an open house to celebrate Senior Center Month and the amazing artwork of the Senior Center Art Club. Sydney Bowles has more.
Before the Senior Center art class, many of the painters had never picked up a brush, or certainly hadn't considered themselves artists.
I started with 2 other people, and that's all it was for a few years. And then it caught on, and now I think we have 18 or 19. And we just get together every week. Someone comes up with an idea, we make a print, and we go at it. And we help each other, and we've come a long way.
I see the art in class, but to see it all together here displayed, I'm thrilled for it.
Oh, the art class is just a wonderful group of people in terms of just lifting everybody up. Someone today said to me, the only reason I brought work is because you encouraged me. You know, this group has changed my life, and it is. They're just wonderful people and wonderful camaraderie.
Oh my gosh, I am so blown away by the talent that the people in this town have. Absolutely amazing.
Council on Aging Director Marge Yetman says it's important for older adults to keep developing new skills.
You retire, and then all of a sudden there's nothing grabbing your attention, right? There's nothing to get you out of bed in the morning. There's nothing necessarily excites you. I mean, not for everybody, but for a lot of people, especially if you don't have grandkids yet, you're not watching them and you're not seeing them all the time. It's like, how are you filling your time, and how are you making yourself feel needed and still engaging in community? It's really important. So to be able to do these paintings, they not only come and they gossip and talk and chat, but then they go home and they can still work on them, right? So, and then it gives them that feeling, but it's also something to get up for.
The open house was also a time to celebrate the Senior Center, as September is Senior Center Month.
I think it's great as a town that we have so many programs, I guess, for our seniors to be part of, and to have a spot to come to and find other people that have the same interests as you. It gets harder as you get older to be out, and make new friends and find new groups. And I think, you come to the end of your life, you retire, you have all this free time on your hands. It's great that we have a place to provide some interest and activities for people.
From the Burlington Senior Center, I'm Sydney Bowles.
In the latest edition of the Chamber Spotlight, Tad Stefanak and Sonia Rollins paid a visit to Chops, the steakhouse located inside the Burlington Marriott. Let's watch.
Hi everybody, Sonia Rollins here for Chamber Spotlight. Today's Spotlight takes us to all things Marriott. We're at the Boston Burlington Marriott on Mall Road, where there is a phenomenal restaurant in here that both people who stay at the hotel and people who live in town know about. Chops Italian Steakhouse and Bar is just around the corner. We're excited to show you what's inside. We're excited to be here. You know, I always say to people the Marriott is a long-standing spot, but it's so nice because there's such a great little spot within the Marriott. So talk about the vibe inside Chops.
Now we're sitting in this beautifully renovated lounge that we call the Great Room. You can really do parties of all sizes,
Yes.
you know, hanging out on these nice little loungy tables with getting a little private table over here for 10 to 12. You do parties up to 40, 50 over there. We have a bar. I mean, our bartenders, a few of them have been here since, I think the longest tenured one right now is 36 years.
I love that, and let's talk about that a little bit because it speaks to the caliber of people you have working here. Their business is hospitality, you know, and I love that. And I think that you said something really important because when people come in, even though the vibe, really now it's been like this for a bit, but even though it's a different look, you still see familiar faces, and it's really nice to be able to sit. You can have a meal, you can have a drink, you can have an appetizer. It's just a great place to be.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's talk about the live music. When is it available at Chops?
Fridays and Saturday nights. So we'd be hanging out in the same table you and I are enjoying.
Yeah.
Focus right there towards that front door. We actually put up a little stage. The stage goes up every Friday and Saturday night, showcasing local artists.
And for the people who just like to have a little quiet moment, what I love too is you have that ability for entertainment, or like you said, you could sit somewhere and enjoy a meal. You can sit and watch a game because there's TVs all around you. You know, it kind of gives you the best of everything.
You can watch the full piece on our website, bcattv.org. Now let's turn to Juliana McGrain for the latest in local sports.
Hey everyone, I'm Juliana McGrain, and this is your weekly sports report. We're heading into the second week of the fall season, and many teams are starting to take shape. Red Devils football kicks off the season with Westboro. Highlights in next week. Girls swimming had their first meet against Winchester on September 10th. Although the team lost 91-74, a few athletes qualified for sectionals and state championships in November. For more details, we spoke with head coach Vito Costa.
Multiple athletes really step up. We have 2 relays going to sectionals and states. We also have the McCarthy twins. All right, they also qualified in their individual events. We had 2 freshmen, Brenna Higdon and Rachel Dowley. Both of them crushed it today, doing multiple events, doing really hard events. And that's what we asked some of these girls to step up, especially some of these freshmen that have talent. So I was really proud of what they did. And then Ava Eldridge also came out and crushed it. Threw her in the 500, and she did the 200 IM today. Got some really good times out of her, and all these kids that I'm talking about now. First meet, we got qualifying times, and it's only going to get better from here.
Burlington will be in Wakefield on September 17th. Red Devils golf is 4-2 this season after a 40-32 win over Wakefield Memorial on September 5th and a 48-24 win against Watertown on September 6th. But Burlington lost to Arlington by just 1 point, 36.5 to 35.5. The Devils defeated Shawshene Valley Technical 171 to 153 on September 12th. Updates next week for the meet against Lexington on the 13th. Girls soccer lost back-to-back matches against Lexington 2-0 and Arlington 6-2 on September 5th and 9th respectively. Goals in the Arlington match were scored by Kim Ochoa and Ava Ciccone. Burlington won 3-1 against Watertown on the 11th and are now 2-2. Boys soccer lost 2 games last week. Both outcomes were 0-1 against Lexington and Arlington on September 5th and 9th. The team was shut down in Watertown on the 11th, 1-0, and will play Arlington Catholic on the 13th. Updates on the matchup next week. Their record stands at a 0-3. Girls and boys cross country began their seasons against the Arlington Spy Ponderers on September 10th at Varsity Field. Both teams are 0-1, with the girls' score being 15-50 and the boys' score being 46-17. BCAT's Game of the Week will feature both of the cross-country teams on September 17th as they take on Wakefield Memorial. Girls field hockey fought valiantly against the Lexington Minutemen last week, keeping the game scoreless for 3 quarters. But Lexington defense finally got through Burlington's defense late in the game, making the final score 1-0. They had another match at home on 9/11 against Arlington High. Senior Audrey Londino scored the Red Devils' goal in the 2-1 loss. Burlington's is now 0-3. Burlington will have another 4 games on the road next week, starting off with Watertown on the 13th. Updates on that game and more games next week. Lady Devils volleyball won over Lexington 3-2 on September 6th and had their first loss of the season to Newton South 3-0 on September 9th. Burlington got back in the win column after a 3-0 shutout against Arlington High on the 11th, pushing their record to 3-1. The Devils are in Concord Carlisle on the 13th. Updates next week. For more Red Devil action, check out our sports section at bcattv.org/sports. Follow us on X @sports. And that's all for this week. I'm Julianne McGrain. Back to you in the studio.
And next, we've got to look at the local forecast with weatherman Peter Brown, and stay tuned for your community calendar with Gretchen Carey.
Well, hello everyone, this is Peter Brown with Look at Your Weather for the next 7 days. Here we are heading in towards the last week of summer. I know it's hard to believe that we are almost halfway through September and on the doorstep of fall. And as we started our period on Friday, yes, everybody's favorite day, Friday the 13th, we're going to be seeing temperatures that are going to be quite warm, nearly 10 degrees above average at this time of the year. And seeing that our average highs are in the upper 70s, we're going to be seeing temperatures in the mid to upper 80s. So a real midsummer feel out there to the air as you head out and about this weekend. And it looks like actually as we get in towards the end of next period, again, our highs should be in the mid 70s at this time of the year. We are going to stay above average for the entire period. Looks like we're going to have every day is going to be featuring temperatures in the 80s. And as we go ahead and we take a look at what the Climate Prediction Center is calling for us in terms of temperatures and precipitation over the next 7 to 10 days, this looks anything like a fall-like forecast coming up here. They're expecting us to have a very high possibility of above average temperatures actually for most of the eastern 2/3 of the country. And here in New England, especially here in the Burlington area, they are expecting us to have a very high chance of very dry conditions. So it is going to be very warm, very dry. Just bear in mind, I know that a lot of folks like to go out there and have campfires going at this time of the year. Please be very careful as the ground is bone dry. We have not had any appreciable rain here in the Burlington area for nearly 20 days now. So it is pretty dry out there, and it looks like our dry spell is going to continue. So let's go ahead, let's take a look at those 7 days of weather coming up, and pretty much what you see is what you get here, folks. It is pretty much a carbon copy every single day. Basically wall-to-wall sunshine, maybe a few fair weather clouds here and there from Friday all the way through next Thursday, with temperatures staying in the low to mid 80s. And those mornings out there not going to be quite as cool as some of the ones that we've been seeing here in the Burlington area over the past few days or so, going to be staying in the 50s. So very pleasant, very midsummer-like feel out there. So summer is still hanging on to us as it gets ready to leave. So everyone, get out there, have a wonderful week, and enjoy the weather.
Hi, I'm Amy Poehler, and you're watching BCAT. Go Red Devils!
Hey everyone, I'm Gretchen Carey, and this is your Community Calendar. On September 18th from 4 to 6:30 p.m., the Wayside Shopping Center will be having an artisan and specialty food market. Everyone is welcome. For more information on the vendors, go to the following website. On September 19th from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., the Burlington Church of Christ at 344 Cambridge Street will be having a community blood drive. For more information, call the church at 781-272-6430. Also on September 19th, from 7 to 8 p.m., the Burlington Public Library will be having a virtual event on Zoom called Unsolved Crimes, New England, with Christopher Daly. For more information and to register, go to the library website. For more community calendar events, go to bcattv.org, burlingtonpubliclibrary.org, and burlingtonrecreation.org. I'm Gretchen Carey, and that was your Community Calendar.
As we do each week, we're wrapping up with a photo sent in by a member of the community. This week's image comes from Steve Morin, who says this big guy was setting up homestead outside his patio door. Thank you, Steve. I'm not so sure. If you have a photo you'd like to see featured here, email it to us at bcattv.org with the subject line Photo of the Week. One final reminder, don't forget to stop by the Community Beer Gardens Thursday nights beginning at 4:30 next to True North Coffee. And Town Clerk Amy Warfield would like interested community members to get in touch about filling vacancies on town meeting seats in Precinct 1, 3, and 7. You can reach out to her on the town website, burlington.org, or of course at Town Hall. That's our program for this week. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Phil Gallagher, and I'll see you right back here next week.